Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, hola, bienvenidos. Welcome to the Hispanic Leadership Summit 2023. In December 2018, we gathered the first ever group of Hispanic leaders here at the United Nations to solve one single question. What unites us? What is our common agenda? How can we get together as a community and start acting as one? How can we change our behavior so that we can support each other and be one community? Today, in the presence of more than 700 change makers gathered for the first ever time at the historic ECOSOC Chamber of Room of the United Nations, I can proudly say we are winning this battle. 5 years ago, we conducted the Hispanic Sentiment Study measuring the sentiment of unity and pride of Latinos, among other indicators. We needed to have a benchmark to measure the progress, to work on the unity, increase the self-regard and social recognition of Latinos. This year, we conducted the comparative and consecutive Hispanic Sentiment Study 2023. And I am thrilled to report that our unity has reached unprecedented levels. We were amazed when we look deeper at the data. So please, I want to pause for a moment and absorb. I want you to pause for a moment and absorb what I'm about to tell you. 5 years ago, only 14% of Hispanics considered that the community was united. Today, that number has skyrocketed to 48%. That is a 34% increase, monumental. Imagine a 5-year percentage increase like that in the market share, revenues, or profits. Imagine a political party growing its numbers by 34%. It's enviable. That type of change is unprecedented and worth not only a celebration, but a recognition, a deep recognition, that if Latinos are able to progress in that magnitude, in that such period of time, we can do anything. But honestly, that shouldn't be a surprise for us now. Look at just recent examples of our resilience. During COVID, the COVID pandemic, Latinos recovered better and faster than any other group in America. We demonstrated resilience, determination, drive. You may hit us, but you will never break us. The message is clear. If we put our mind to it and unite forces, we can do anything. And as Dolores Huerta would say, together, sí se puede. And this is a big deal, and I'm going to take a lot of time on talking about this because unification is the precondition for any change to happen. We see it with political and civic engagement. We see it with the resurgence of Latinidad. Unity empowers people in the workplace, has positive impact on business and markets, gives people access to education and healthcare and financial services. Unity helps us to work to break barriers and build towards common goals in the community. And perhaps most importantly of all, unity inspired the young. They feel our pride. They find our own voices, and they feel proud and power. We can overcome challenges and systemic barriers we face if we have a clear plan, a common agenda, and a group of people like the ones we have today to make change a reality. We at the World Human Foundation have been advocating for a laser-focused agenda called, and maybe you will forgive me because I've been a broken record about this for the last 5 years, Latino Unity and Latino Pride for Latino Progress. Now that we have seen improvement in our community's unity, I think that we are ready to take a step further and focus on elevating 2 more critical areas for us: our perception and our representation. unity, perception, and representation. Let's make it our common agenda, united to increase our perception so that we can advance our representation. This is important in any context, but very particularly in the incoming election year. We can do it. All the conditions are given for us to succeed. We are on the winning team. There's no better time to be a Latino than today. I do not want you to take this. Don't take this from me as a proud Latina. Of course I'm a super proud Latina. But I'm saying this because the data is saying that. It is clear that our starting point is strong. Latinos are the drivers of the prosperity, power, and progress of this country. It is impossible to speak about Latinos today without looking at the numbers and the growth that we represent. There is no way a company can hire or sell without Latinos. There is no way that a politician can win an election of Latinos. Latinos are prosperity, power, and progress. And I want all of us to absorb that and embrace that and be proud of that. Let's start with prosperity. Prosperity understood as economic prosperity for America. Hispanics create more jobs than any other group in America. We are generating, as we will hear from the data providers like Latino Donor Collaborative, that our GDP, our gross domestic product, has grown to be $3.2 trillion, making us the 5th largest economy in the world. Our purchasing power has been increasing. The size of our wallet grows by the minute, reaching $3.4 trillion. Latinos also are the prosperity, economic prosperity of the country because we are the frontliners, the farmers, the people that keep this country moving. So we are driving economic prosperity for America. Now let's move into power. Power understood as influence, as an ability to control. Latino power has been increasing from population growth to political representation. There's no question. We are the people, 62 million people, 20% of the population, and that is today. Because by tomorrow, we will be 30% of the population. Yes, 1 in every 3 Americans will be Latinos. Hello, hello, hola. Hello, hello, hola. Not only we are the people, we're the youth, the youngest cohort of all. We're 20% of the very enviable Generation Z. Our average age is 28 years old. 28 years old, that's a decade younger than the rest of the population. Latinas, we're 26 years old in average. We look young because we're young. But I think that the most important data point of our youth that I want all of us to take in, and if there's one thing that you remember from what I said today, is our mode, the most common. The most common age of 62 million Latinos today is 19 years old. The most common age of 62 million people today is 19 years old. The most common age of non-Latinos is 61. 61 years old, that is a difference between 19 and 61 years old. So there's no way that we cannot foresee our power. And our power is also felt in culture. In this country, there's more tortillas sold than bread. There's more salsa sold than ketchup. We got our power in our culture. Hispanic culture is shaping global culture. And lastly, I think that my favorite point is progress. Progress understood as the movement from one point to a better one. Movement progress towards in a better direction. It doesn't mean that it's perfection, but it is progress. And Latinos are making progress in every single indicator and data point where we are. We're making progress in the number of people that are graduating from high school. We're getting progress in the number of people that are getting computer science. We're making progress. And that is the one thing, by the way, that unifies us all. It is not language. It is not religion. It is not political affiliation. What really unifies all Latinos is that we want progress. So Latinos are the power, prosperity, power, and progress of this country. So for me, and I hope for all of you, it should be clear that Latinos, we are the future. We're the taxpayers, we're the voters, we're the entrepreneurs, we're the social workers, with everything, and yet we're underrepresented, misrepresented, and undervalued. For far too long, we have accepted a narrative about us that is wrong. It's not the right one. Stereotypes have shadowed us and silenced us. Biases deny our history and suppress our identity. We have been acting someone else's script, and it is time to flip the script. But that is also changing. According to the Hispanic Sentiment Study in 2018, 77% of the community was not aware of our own contributions to the country. We were seeing ourselves through a distorted mirror. We saw ourselves small when we were big, weak when we were powerful. But today, I'm delighted to share with you and announce publicly that we also made progress in the level of awareness of Latinos of their own contributions to the country, which generates pride and incentivizes Latinos to reclaim their Latinidad. In 2023, the number of Latinos not aware of their contributions decreased from 77% to less than 50%. That is more than 20 points percentage drop, a massive progress again. We have still much work to do, but as we said, together, we can do anything. Just look around. Have a look. This is history on the making. We are, for the first ever time, as Latinos in the ECOSOC chamber of the United Nations. This is the group that will make it happen, that will finish the job. Now, more than ever, we need the collective efforts of each and every one of us. We must commit. We must promise. Our common agenda is unification, perception, and representation, because Latinos are prosperity, power, and progress. But in order to make that all happen, we need to add a fourth P for promise. When we first came up with the Hispanic Promise, which we will get into more detail tomorrow, we named it so because it was a pledge, an oath. What we have learned so profoundly since then is that a promise is actually a very active word, because a promise kept implies commitment. A promise kept comes with defined actions. A promise is ultimately about the fulfillment of that promise, the realization of that promise. Otherwise, it's not a promise, it's just a word. And we Latinos are not only words, we're promises and actions. And as Latinos, our commitment to building a better future is the realization of a promise to our ancestors. Our ancestors propel us forward. Our ancestors, our grandparents, our parents, the leaders like Dolores Huerta, Juan Andrade, and everyone in this room that has someone in our family tree and our network that has made incredible sacrifices to make our lives better, to give us the chance that we have, to give us the chance and the opportunity to be maybe the first person in our families, to be the first generation that goes to college or that is in corporate America and having a great opportunity to make it, to get an education, build a business, grow in our careers, buy a home, raise a family. We owe it to our ancestors to make a better life for ourselves and to our community. So we must make a promise here, today, to our Hispanic community to be present, active, and organized. And what a better place to do it than here at the United Nations. What I have learned, in other words, is that a promise is very much about accountability. And we have to be accountable about our actions and our commitment to each other. So when we make a promise here today, we should be mindful that it has real meaning, real power, real impact, real outcomes, like the ones that I shared about our unity and pride. When we make a promise today here, we are unleashing our power as Latinos. When we make a promise today, we must uplift each other. When we make a promise today, I count on you to act on it with honor, with hope, with all our heart. When we leave here tomorrow, I know we will agree on what needs to be done. I know we can count on the commitment to a common agenda, an agenda of unification, perception, and representation. We have a vision and the group of change makers here to make it happen. And we will provide you with the tools and resources so we can make it happen. We have all it takes. Let's embrace our power, our own Latinidad, and together, let's claim our rightful place. And let's do so with passion, pride, and the positivity that defines us as Latinos. This is our time. Together, we shine. Now getting to business. Today we're going to give you and share with you the data, the frameworks that will allow you to concretely take action and apply them as of tomorrow. Today, day 2, we will equip you with important resources and tools, including the launch of corporate tools like our Hispanic Promise 3.0. And additionally, we will be laser focused on perception-changing instruments. We will start getting into learning about Latinos as consumers.